This is your weekly celestial forecast for the week beginning March the 27th, 2023. So on Monday, we've got the moon in Gemini. And by Tuesday, it is applying a conjunction with action-oriented Mars. And what does this mean with the moon in Gemini? It's about the third house. It's about communications, the written word, the spoken word, and this need to communicate with just about everyone. And it's about our restlessness, the need to travel as well. However, there is also a sextile between Chiron, Mercury, the communicator, and Jupiter, the planet of luck and prosperity, and the moon in communicator Gemini now. So this is very good for clear thinking, clear speaking, really vocalizing our intentions. So that's positive. And it's very good for what? Our luck, because of this connection with Mercury and Chiron. So for the first few days, at least of this week, up until about maybe Wednesday or thereabouts, maybe Tuesday, we will feel like we've got some good news. We've got news regarding financial, money, work, job news that looks very promising. And what else does Jupiter connect with? Jupiter connects with the ninth house, Sagittarius. And so there's good news on the horizon about contracts, legalities, long distance travel, foreign just about anything, and education. So these will all be highlighted now, especially on Monday. However, because the moon is applying a conjunction with Mars, well, on Tuesday, we are going to have to just watch how touchy we will be. And we will have to just pull back a little bit come Tuesday. And let's look ahead for that right now. Tuesday, March the 28th. Yes, indeed, there is this Moon Mars conjunction, and there is a square off with the sun. So, yes, that kind of heightens the sense of the need to kind of increase our self-confidence, our self-esteem now, because, yeah, we are feeling a little bit low on our energy and self-esteem. So, because the moon is with Mars, action-oriented Mars, we'll have to just watch our speech now and be very watchful of peevishness or irritability. And this kind of starts off the week on Tuesday, and it gets just a little bit more important or highlighted on Tuesday. So Monday, we're feeling a little bit of this annoyance, but by Tuesday, we'll have to be careful not to be a little bit too touchy or defensive because of the sun square Mars and the moon. But the moon does make a sweet trine with very responsible Saturn in Pisces, and a grand trine with that touchy south node in Scorpio. So although we may feel a little bit defensive on Tuesday, that sweet grand trine here in water kind of is nurturing and self-nurturing, kind of to have a little bit self-compassion and to be more sensitive, not just to our needs, but the needs of other people around us. And if we can kind of take a hint from this sweet water emotional grand trine, then on Tuesday that may temper some of our irritation there, which is good and gives us more compassion and sensitivity to both ourselves and others. So that's a positive highlight here for Tuesday. And we've got Venus still connected with the unique, unexpected planet of Uranus, which is also, by the way, now the depositor of Pluto, the powerhouse. So Venus is in Taurus, it's with its own. And with Uranus on Tuesday, we're also feeling a little bit rebellious. So we got this need to be a little bit defensive or touchy, but nurturing, which is good. But then we've got this rebellious Venus in Taurus with Uranus. So we want to really express our thoughts, our opinions, our individuality now. Maybe we need a little space here and there from others that are a little too close. And we also want to express our creativity. We want to express the need for beauty. So this is a very creative influence on Tuesday. If we don't get a little bit too over the top with our rebellion, then we temper that, and that Uranus Venus conjunction will help us to really express our principles, our ideas, our ideals effectively. And that's what this is about. Also, there may be some unexpected news connected with money, financial, everything and anything may be positive, may be negative, because, well, we've got Uranus here, and that's about the unexpected. So, yes, look for unexpected news connected with the financial sphere on Tuesday of this week. Yes, now let's look ahead to the following day, which is Wednesday. And now we are headlong to the middle of the week. The moon is now past Mars in Cancer, which is good. So that kind of tempers off a little bit of that sense of impatience or annoyance early in the week. However, Mars is still making a bit of a wide square of the sun. So we are feeling a little low ebb on the energy on Wednesday as well. Now, however, the moon is plying square offs with Jupiter and Mercury and Chiron. So anytime you've got the moon and squaring off lucky Jupiter, this is a time on Wednesday. Just watch your spending, because Jupiter with the square with the moon makes us feel like sometimes we want to buy emotionally or buy impulsively because we're feeling lucky. Maybe we've got some good job or financial news this weekend. So on Wednesday, we have this desire to spend. And as always, with this square off with Jupiter and the moon, this is the time you want to save. So kind of do the opposite here on Wednesday. Kind of just temper the spending a little bit, save for a rainy day, and in the long run, certainly that will benefit you. And yes, there's also this square off with Mercury and with Chiron. So we just have to see the positive in a situation, because we are talking about Mercury, the communicator, squaring off the moon. And so that still, especially with Mercury and impulsive, rash Aries, with the sensitive, touchy, nurturing moon in Cancer, we have to just watch our speech, watch our words, and we don't want to get overly defensive on Wednesday. as well. So let's look ahead to the next day, which will be on Thursday. Yes, and now the moon is void in Cancer and headlonging into the dramatic, warm hearted sign of Leo. And there is, uh, well, there is this out of sign opposition between the moon and late Cancer and Pluto, the powerhouse. And even though Pluto now is in more objective, more people oriented, tech oriented, future oriented Aquarius, also, Pluto still deals with the powers that be. Uh, but at least now that it is not in Capricorn any longer, at least for the next month and a half to 2 months, we are going to feel a little more friendly, like we really want to connect with each other, and feeling that touch bit of rebellion with our principles and our ideals. And with the square off with the collective moon, there could be some feistiness now, publicly or privately. This is the time that you don't want to get into petty disagreements, either with groups, the public, or even personally. You don't want to get involved with any power plays come Thursday. So just watch the connectivity and the communications on Thursday, especially with those that are in authority with that connection with Pluto. Yes, indeed. So moving along, yes. And of course, now we still have the quincunx between Mars and Pluto. So with that, that only kind of heightens this square off out of sign on Thursday with, well, the opposition that is between the moon and Pluto on Thursday, because with the inconjunct or the quincunx between Mars and Aquarius, that only kind of heightens our sense of impatient behavior and the need to get things done again here. Yes, and looking ahead, we are moving officially to the weekend, and that is on Friday, now the 31st. Yes, the last day of the month. Yes, so we have the moon officially in the sign of warm-hearted Leo. Wow. And that is making a very sweet fire trine to the sun in Aries. So if there is a little peevishness, a little defensiveness and touchiness early on or for most of the week, come the weekend, we are feeling awfully energetic and very warm-hearted and generous, especially since the moon is also applying the following day a sweet trine to Jupiter, Chiron, and now the communicator of Mercury by Sunday. So not only are we communicating clearly and effectively, we are feeling, well, what? Kind of like this connection with Uranus and Venus. We're feeling really creative because Leo is like the most creative sign of the zodiac, and that's anything artistic, creative, you name it. And it's also expressing our affections in a very positive, enthusiastic style with this connection with the sun. So if we were feeling a little low on our energy, self-confidence, or self-esteem, earlier in the week, well, this is a shot of ambition and confidence come Friday. And also because of the trine or applied trine by Saturday with Jupiter, Chiron, and then by Sunday with Mercury, well, this is a time to really focus on our goals. And we are not just getting things done, we are really putting a lot of positivity and enthusiasm into our efforts starting on Friday. And now, not only are we feeling zesty, but our confidence is back. So that's very positive. Yes, indeed. However, with all of this, we also have an applying square off with Uranus and Venus and the moon. So on Friday, in all this zest, we will also have to be careful of our rebellious nature because we are feeling so good on the weekend. We may have to be very cautious in our actions, not just so much how we talk to each other, it's our reactions to each other. Because anytime we've got the moon and square off with Uranus, that also rules the collective. So we're feeling a little bit rebellious on Friday, and then more towards the weekend, Saturday. We also have to be cautious of expecting the unexpected. And that could also be, especially come Saturday, connected with love. So, yes, let's look ahead now to Saturday. And that is March. Nope, it's April 1st. Yes. So, on April 1st, we're going to have to be a little bit more cautious about our actions and not feeling so energized by good news or our goals, our self-esteem, that we somewhat may step on each other's toes a little bit. There may be some unsettling news on Saturday. Yes. So, with all this enthusiasm, that's great. It's good for getting things done, it's good for our future prospects. But because of unexpected developments on Saturday, however that may be, maybe a little bit of some unsettling news with regards to love, romance, or relationships, however that may be, we may react a little bit aggressively, especially between the square off between the moon and very warm hearted Leo and this rather stubborn yet desire for beauty, creativity, you name it, on Saturday, Uranus and Venus. So, if we can just look to the positive here and really kind of feel like no matter what occurs, everything is going to work out, well, then Saturday indeed will work out to be very beneficial. Yes, especially with this trine in fire to the sun, Chiron, and Jupiter, Mercury, Friday and Saturday. So let's look ahead to the final day, which is Sunday. Yes, and the moon now is in picky Virgo. And so that could be back to a little bit of this annoyance as aforementioned in the beginning of the week, especially since the square off, or I should say, the depositor of the moon is Mercury, but Mercury now is in late Aries. So the annoyance won't be quite as bad because the square off between the moon and Mercury is no longer there on Sunday. But yes, we can feel a little bit annoyed on Sunday. But let's look to the positive here. We've got an out of sign trine with Mercury in very late Aries and the moon on Sunday. So, although there's this sense of impatient or irritation on Sunday, at least we can really communicate to others our desires and our needs. And it's with Earth, so our thoughts are going to be more grounded, more sensible, more pragmatic and practical on Sunday about our goals. We're feeling very down to earth, not so impatient or overzealous as it has shown for Friday and Saturday. Now, with the moon in Virgo, our thoughts are going to be about organization, about analyzing anything, research, and especially on this Sunday, it's a good time for downtime, just kind of taking it easy. And it's really good for anything that requires some good common sense and research. Anything that deals with cleaning, diet, pets, the sixth house, you name it. That's what Sunday is about with this moon in Virgo and the out of sign square with Mercury. So our energy is just a little bit more tempered on Sunday. And there's also a sweet sextile with Mars. Oh, this is very good for Sunday because yes, it allows us to get work done, but we are feeling very energized to organize. So, this is the time we may really put a lot of energy into home projects, whether that's renovation, whether that's maybe even looking into another home, and anything that deals with second house connections and sixth house organizations, research, catching up on some of that reading, health and wellness, you name it. That's what Sunday is going to be about. And oh boy, with that Mars and Cancer, a lot of action in that arena. Also, we may be connected with real estate, repairs, you name it, a lot with home, family, security on Sunday. So that's a very grounding earth water sextile on Sunday. Yes, indeed. And we still have this sweet grand trine between Mars, the South Node in Scorpio, and Saturn in Pisces, which will remain pretty much for most this week. So when all gets a little crazy in the defense zone, then this grand trine in water, although rather a bit emotional, is very sensitive for compassion and connecting and nurturing others as well as ourselves. Yes, indeed. So, uh, we also have, as of Monday, going into early next week, we also have an applying trine between Uranus, Venus, and the moon. So now we're starting to feel rebellious, but in a very tempered, creative style. And come Monday, we are feeling actually very grounded and very good that we are not only organizing and researching, we finally feel that we see a lot of fruits to our very practical efforts that started on Sunday. So that's very focused and rather ambitious for what we want to get done. Oh boy, that's a good ending to a very well up and down kind of a week, but filled with enthusiasm. And at the end of the day, with a little bit of uncertainty for this week, if we apply our sensitivities because of that water grand trine and focus on our goals and get things done and just look to the positive because of all the fire and the good connections with Jupiter, then this week for starting March 27th will be absolutely a positive and enthusiastic one.